Okay, so diet plays a critical role in the prevention of complications and delaying progression to dialysis in patients with chronic kidney disease. Current guidelines are almost 20 years old now, and they focus on restricting the intake of everything that can accumulate to toxic levels, like sodium, phosphorus, and potassium, restricting protein intake to avoid hyperfiltration and delay progression, and ensuring at all times that the patient has sufficient energy. The problem of those diets is that they are very restrictive, they are difficult to follow, and they are difficult to adhere to. Sometimes they go against what we consider healthy. During the last 20 years, we have had an enormous change in the way we eat and the food that we have access to. Think, for instance, that supermarkets, they display food items from all over the world. The renal diet needs to also take into account all these changes that have happened in the last 20 years. And this is what many of us, nephrologists, researchers, and dietitians now echo, that the diet of chronic kidney disease patients needs to evolve from a quantity focus to a quality focus. What is the quality of the diet that we eat? What is the variety and diversity of the foods that we consume? Because there are many more other aspects that a healthy nutrients can give or can help to combat the problems of patients with kidney disease. After all, we are exactly what we eat. The general principles of a diet for a patient with non-dialysis dependent chronic kidney disease is to restrict protein intake, to avoid the hyperfiltration of the kidneys, and to moderately reduce the consumption of sodium, potassium, phosphorus that may reach toxicity. This is more important in very advanced stages, stage 4 and 5. Giving an ideal diet is difficult because this should be part of an individualized process. I would say that the ideal diet should be the one that gives to the patient what he or she needs and that the patient can cope with. There is no use of recommending things if the patient is not going to adhere to it. So we should make an effort to make a prescription of a renal diet that is possible to achieve, that is based on the patient's habitual consumption, that it doesn't disturb too much the habits of the family as well, because they will eat together and they need to make changes as well, and that it doesn't become boring and complicated. This is not impossible, this can be achieved, but it requires the effort, combined effort of the patient, the nephrology, and the dietitian that had to be continuously discussing and adapting to how life progresses through the disease. I also would like to say that there are many other aspects that renal diets are currently not taking care of, and we could use the power of nutrients to solve other complications of kidney disease. For example, I'm thinking on the use of taking care of the quality of the carbohydrates that the patients consume, especially fiber. I think would be a very important carbohydrate to supplement here, and it would solve problems with inflammation and constipation, etc. We could take care of the quality of the fat that the patients are consuming. That would be the main source of energy. This should be preferably unsaturated and polyunsaturated fat from fish and plants, and less saturated fat from meat. And there are many other aspects, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, that I'm sure that together could do much more than what we are really doing at the moment. Now the upcoming KDOQI guidelines that will be issued later this year, I'm sure they will take care of many of these concerns, and we will be able to learn what evidence is there about these practices. But we know already that the evidence is going to be small, so I think it's in our responsibility in the coming years to transform these common sense thoughts that I'm just describing into real research studies that convince and demonstrate the importance of a healthy nutrition for patients with CKD. Yes, vegetarian diets, I think they can be safe and good options for patients with non-dialysis CKD because they generally have a slightly lower protein content, they have a less bioavailable phosphorus, and they come with more fiber, with more vitamins and antioxidants. All those things are good things. It is not true that a vegetarian diet would compromise the quality of the amino acids consumed. but you need to consume it with the right elements. This is called protein combining, and it's been done for decades by vegetarians. It's simply to take into account that you need to eat throughout the day the 4 different sources of plant protein that we have in the diet. Combine in your diet grains, fruits, legumes, and beans. If you do so, you will have no problems in achieving all essential amino acids in your daily diet. If your patient wants to change into a vegetarian diet, I think what we need to invest most is on patient education, on food sources and composition, so that she can make sure that everything is consumed and that right energy and right protein is intake. Studies of vegetarian diets in the non-dialysis population have convincingly shown that the patients can achieve a better phosphorus control, they can have less problems of constipation, and they can effectively delay the progression to end-stage renal disease and dialysis.